started. Now, there we go. Hello everyone, and you're all very welcome to Farming Through the Seasons. So this is the first of Farming Through the Seasons for the year, and we're going to learn a little bit more about autumn. My name is Amy and I work for Agri Aware, and I'm joined today by James Grace, who is a beef farmer from County Kilkenny. So we've all signed up to hear a little bit more from James and a little bit more about his farm. So I'm just going to get James to say hello. So James, if you want to unmute yourself there and you can say hello to all the boys and girls.
Morning kids, how are you?
There we go. There's James. So what we're going to do today with James is he's recorded a series of videos which are really excellent, and it gives you a lovely overview of what's going on the farm this time of the year. So we're going to play that. It'll take about 8 minutes, and then we'll come back and James will answer all of your questions. But before we do that, we're just going to have a little look at our participants and see who is with us. If any of the teachers in the classroom want to let us know who's here, you can write it into the Q&A box. You can say hi from Scolmwera or wherever you are tuning in from. People already popping in. So there are pupils from Clontarf. Very good. Strong Mills 4th class. Is that how you pronounce that? I believe you were on the last time with James. Do you remember them, James?
Yes, Strangs Mills.
You know how to pronounce it. Perfect. We have St. Mary's BNS from Ferrybank. Hi, everyone. We have 3rd class from Harswood. And they are coming from big farming country. Very good. We have St. Mel's in Ardagh, County Longford. Very good. 5th and 6th class from Newtown, Kilmacthomas. That school is very familiar to me. You must have participated in something before. We have St. Finian's College.
They can see you doing that on the thing.
We can see you and we can hear you, James. Who else do we have? We have 2nd, 3rd and 4th class in St. Ena's in Scottstown. Oh, that's in County Monaghan. I know some people from Scottstown. Perfect. So there's lots of people who are after tuning in. We can give a few more shout outs when we go to the Q&A section. But for now, James, if you want to turn off your camera and mute yourself, we're going to play the video and I will do the same. So we're all going to have a lovely overview of what's going on James's farm. Now we'll just share our screen. Now here we go.
Morning boys and girls. Last time we spoke we talked about what was going on the farm in the summer, and we've now obviously moved into October, and October is in the fall of the year, as you know. Today is the 6th or 5th of October, whatever it is. A day in which a month in which there are 30 days, and it's the beginning of the countdown for us to start putting in our cattle. But before we talk about what's going on in the farm, maybe we might have a little look at what's going on with nature. Behind me here you can see all the berries, these blackberries you're well sure of, these rose hips that grow on wild rose bushes. Up over my head here you can see all the red skihories growing on a whitethorn bush, and you should notice, see the way the colours for the autumn are starting to change on the trees. All the reds is not that bright green that it was in the summer. All starting to fade into red and brown. All the trees, all the bushes will all go that way. They'll shed their leaves for the winter, and it's part of the process that goes through this time of the year. We even have in here the last of the mushrooms that grow for the year. I saw one here today. This fella here, look at him. He's the last mushroom I saw growing. These are mushrooms that you can eat. I've never seen so many mushrooms grow as I did this year because of the warm weather that we had. As I said, today we're talking about getting ready for the winter. So we have to look at what we're doing with the grass, and we'll go look at the cattle in a minute and see where they're after doing since the last time we were here, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do with them for the winter. Okay, I'm sure you're all really glad to be back in school after the holidays. Lawn sauce de ver, a rash skull, to race the lanes this year. I'm sure the teachers are delighted to be back as well. I'm now standing in the middle of a bunch of fellas that you saw last July or whenever it was. And these boys are after putting on 90 kilos to 100 kilos since the last time you saw them. So they're putting on the equivalent of my weight since you saw them last. These boys would have been up to here last time. They're now up to here. And all from eating this green grass all summer, nothing else. But we have to change the way we manage them now this time of the year. We have to start closing the fields, in other words, not grazing them, starting off about the 10th of October. This field will be grazed out, and we're using an electric fence, as you can see here. You can see where the lush grass is where they haven't grazed it, and this is where they've grazed what they got today. And the reason for the electric fence is we want them to graze out all the old grass off the field, so that when I stop the field with no more grazing on it, all the new fresh grass that grows between when I stop at about the 10th of October until I leave them back out again in February will be nice, clean, fresh grass. Because if you leave the old grass on it, it'll just die off and it'll go all brown and they don't like it. These pies will be left out here until about the 10th. They'll be finished here, and then they'll move on to another field, and when they're finished that one will be closed. So we close them in rotation, one after another. So that when we start next February, then we start on the one we closed it first, because there'll be most grass on it over the winter months. I told you last time, grass needs 100 days rest. So if I close it the 10th of October, November, December, January. So roughly from the beginning of February on, I should be able to put cattle out, depending on the rain and all the rest of it. And I might introduce you to this fella. You didn't meet this fella last time. This is Joe. Joe is the bull on the farm. He weighs 1,100 kilos, and Joe was in to get his toenail slipped. If you have a look at his back left foot, you'll see the turn up on his toenail. Like your mammy clipping your toenails, he's going to get his toenail slipped so that he won't be lame. In here is where some of the big cattle will go. This is what we call a cubicle shed. Everyone has their own cubicle. They can lie up in the cubicle, and there's a nice soft rubber mat on it. And then when they poo, all the poo falls down here. And this machine here, called the scraper, just goes down. Goes off down like that. All the way down the passage. It scrapes all the poo out here into this tank out here. Scrapes it all down this way. It goes down through these little holes in the ground here and down into a tank that's 2.5 meters deep. And that has to stay there then. This is what we call slurry, that smelly stuff that you smell going out on the fields. If you spread it after the 7th of October, there's a danger that you might get heavy rain and it will wash all the slurry into the streams and the rivers, and then you'd have pollution. So you can't have that. So it must be kept in the tank between the 7th of October and the 12th of January. After that, you can spread it out on the land. So last time you were here, there was only one calf on the farm. If you look through the cows there now, everyone has a calf. All these calves are 6 weeks, 2 months old, and they're drinking from their mammies and they're eating grass at this stage. And the next stage for me now is to try and teach them to eat meal. In order to get the calves eating grass or eating meal, I mean, this is the meal. So what I do is I put it in a little trough here at this side of the fence. You can see the fence along here. And I've raised it a little bit here higher, so the calves can come in under the fence and eat the meal, but the cows can't come in and steal it on it. If I left that in there, the cows would eat all the meal and the calves wouldn't have any. So I like to have the calves eating meal before they go into the shed. We're going to go down now and look and see where these cows and calves go for the winter and look how they are fed for the winter. Okay, so from about the 1st of November, again depending on the weather, if it gets very wet, maybe even a day or two soon onward, roughly about the first week of November they start to come in here. So this is where the cows and calves will come. Cows and calves will come in here. Again, they're on a nice soft rubber flat mat, and all the poop goes down between the mats down into a tank. Kept that story up till January. But we have a little trick here. We have what we call, this is what we call a creek gate. So this gate will be closed. So all the cows and calves will be put in here. But the calves can fit out through the gate like this. And there they come out here, and they can lie in a nice, warm, dry straw bed. If you come out here in the winter's night and the frost outside, you'll find all the calves all thrown off here asleep. And the cows are in there, so they have it nice and comfortable in here. Then they're all fed along the passage in front here. See what the troughs are on the side? All the silage is put along there. And they're fed silage and meal and that. Lastly for today, farmers are like squirrels. You all know about the squirrel. Squirrel spends all the autumn months gathering acorns and nuts and hiding them in trees and hiding them in the ground, so that when things get scarce for the winter, he can go and dig them up and eat them. Well, the farmer spends the whole summer gathering up all the grass, extra grass he has, and putting it into bales like these fellas here, about 350 of these fellas here, or putting it into a big silage pit here that has about 1,500 tons of silage in it there. So those cows for the winter will eat 20 kilos of silage every day and some meal. The calves will eat a lot less, but as the calves get bigger, they'll eat more and more. They're like children in school. Next time you come back, hopefully, we'll have all the animals in and you'll see them being fed and all the rest of it. Until then, enjoy the rest of the school year and enjoy the Halloween break.
Now, thanks a million for that, James. That was brilliant. You can pop back on your camera and you can unmute yourself if you can hear me there. I hope you'll all agree that that was a really great overview. I absolutely loved that you said that farmers are like squirrels. I thought that was brilliant, getting ready for the winter. We are going to open up the Q&A now, so James can hear me and I can ask him the questions. So if you have any questions, you can ask your teacher to submit it through the Q&A box, and we will get to answering them. Thanks a million for those videos, James. They were brilliant. Now there's already some questions popping in there. So James, the first question is, how much does your bull weigh? Oh, maybe James is frozen a little bit there. Can you hear us, James? Oh, there we go. So your first question is, how much does your bull weigh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah,
because the connection is going in and out there. He weighs about 1,100 kilos. That's a ton and 100 kilos on top of it.
Wow, that's very, very heavy.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
See what else?
He's in 6th class.
Very good. Lots of questions popping in here. How many cattle do you have? That's coming from Clayton.
About 200.
200. And James, is that a lot of cattle for a beef farm?
It depends on how much land you have, but it depends on how the amount of land you have depends on how many cattle you can carry.
Mm-hmm.
So we carry about 2.2 livestock units, 2.2 cattle to the hectare, roughly.
Perfect. So Sean in Newtown asks, do you cut your own silage?
No, I cut all the bale silage myself, but I get a contractor to cut what goes into the big plastic pit.
Very good. Yeah,
because the machinery is too expensive just for to use it for yourself. You need to have hundreds of thousands for that stuff.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It's good to have help as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
A pupil is asking, do you get your rubber mats from Easy Fix?
Some of them are Easy Fix and some of them are older. You must have someone working for Easy Fix.
Must do. Maybe a parent or a sibling. This question is always asked on these webinars. What kind of tractor do you have, James?
I drive a Fent 313.
Fent 313. A few people asking about your tractor, so that's perfect. Do you just have one tractor on your farm?
No, I have a very old lady here that's 43 years old, a Ford 4600. Used to belong to my dad.
Oh wow.
We'll stick the Fent in the next webinar and they can look away.
Excellent. We'll put that in. So Thomas would like to know, do you like to eat burgers, James?
I certainly do like to eat burgers. Yes.
Now we have a few people who are asking about milk from the cows. So James is a beef farmer, so he doesn't have a dairy farm. But James, maybe you might explain what kind of cattle make milk for us.
Okay, so the cattle I have are not dairy bred cattle; they're beef bred cattle. So instead of milking cows and sending it to the creamery and it ending up in a carton in the supermarket, we go down a different route. We leave the calf under the cow, and the calf drinks all the milk from that cow, and that's what sustains the calf over the first 8 or 9 months of the year. And then the cow goes dry for a period, and the calf goes on to meal and grass and all the rest of it. And the cow produces a new calf then after roughly about 12 months, and then she goes through the whole process again. So I don't milk any cows. I have 4-legged milkers, little 4-legged lads running around the field milking them.
So the calves drink all the milk on James's farm, so they don't go into the milking parlour. But that was a great question, because I'm sure there's lots of people who didn't know that. Does anyone in your family help you out on the farm, James?
Yes, all my family help out. My son is a partner, and my wife is very good as well.
Excellent. How many animals do you send to the factory every year? So that's coming from Strong's Mills, fourth class.
About 80 cattle go to the factory every year, roughly.
Super. This is a nice question. When did you start farming, James?
I never stopped since I was a little boy. So I did work away from the farm for about 25 years, but I always kept the farm going on a part-time basis. And then I went back to it full-time then about 20 years ago.
Is being a farmer your favourite job you've ever had?
It depends on whether it's wet or fine outside. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great self-satisfaction, and you're your own boss and all the rest of it. Now, it can be pressurizing at times as well.
Yeah, it can be a very hard job. Sorry,
Yeah.
that came from a pupil called Kira. She just mentioned that because I'm sure she would like you to know. So this question has come in a few times. So Zach and Thomas and a few other pupils would like to know, how many acres do you have?
135.
Okay, lots of land. Do you name any of your calves?
Only maybe a special lad. Maybe a fella that was sick and you had to nurse him around, or maybe a fella that was exceptionally quiet, or something like that. We have a fella here called Marty, and he's named after the 3 boys in the Disney movie.
Very good. Which Disney movie is that? Maybe the pupils know. Anybody know?
Yeah, I forget. He was actually christened Marty by the little boy's father. Well, the father of the little boy had him christened.
One of the pupils, Rory, is asking about the creep door. So, do any of the cows ever manage to get through the creep door, or is it just the...
No, the creep door is set narrow enough so that only the calf can get through it, and there's a bar goes across the top, so I can adjust the height so the cow can't go through it.
It's a very clever design, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it easy for the young calves.
What age are the animals when they leave your farm?
About 2 years old, between 22 and 25 months roughly.
Very good. These are really excellent questions. We must have some farmers here. Lots of very informed questions. Oh, this is a good question because I think you addressed this a little bit in the video anyway. A pupil would like to know, why do the calves get the special bed and the cows don't?
Because they're so young, they don't need to be in the middle of the cows getting pushed around. The idea is that they have their own space. They can go in and drink the milk and then scoot back out and lie down. It's like having your own chair in the corner watching telly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a nice comfortable space. But the cows, they also have they have their own special cubicles, don't they, as well, with
Yeah.
that soft mat. So
Yeah,
they also have a nice bed.
yeah.
Do you have any other animals on your farm? And that's coming from a pupil called Kira.
5 chickens and 2 dogs.
And do you eat the eggs from your chickens?
Yes.
Yummy. So many great questions. So hard to pick. A pupil would like to know about the chemical fertilizer that you used this year. Did you use much chemical fertilizer this year?
I used about 20% less fertilizer this year than I did the previous years.
Okay.
Because you were trying to cut it down and trying to, it's a balancing act between cutting it down and making sure that you have enough grass for your cattle and all the rest of it. But I dropped about 20% on what I would have normally used up to now.
And I'd say that was because it's expensive and
Well, it's like I would have been buying it 2 years ago for €190 a ton. It's now €1,000 a ton.
wow, that's a lot. That's a lot more expensive, boys and girls. Yeah, so it's good to cut it down because it's very expensive, and of course farms are businesses, but also if we use less, it means we've less risk of pollution to the environment as well. So it's good to cut it down.
You can no longer spread fertilizer now as of the 15th of September. Farmers are not allowed to spread fertilizer again until the 12th of January.
Very good. This is an interesting question. This must be coming from a 6th class pupil. Do you think beef farming is more profitable than dairy farming?
It certainly is not. We know that. It's proven statistically, it's proven by Chog, it's proven by all the people that dairy farming is by far the most profitable agricultural enterprise in the country.
Mm-hmm. That is correct. That was a great question. Thanks for asking that. I think that was coming from PJ. Well done. Another pupil, this is a good question too. Do you buy in any of your cattle?
Yes, I buy in about 40 dairy bred calves. In other words, I buy the calves from the dairy farmer who's going to milk his cow instead of putting the calf under the cow. I buy them in at about 3 weeks old, and then I rear them on what a thing called milk powder, milk replacer, for about another 7 or 8 weeks, and then we wean them onto grass and meal and all the rest of it.
Super. And so if you buy in some of those dairy calves, how many calves would you rear on the farm? How many would be born on your farm?
There's another 40 born on the farm, so that's where the 80 that are killed every 2 years comes around. It's the whole cycle turning around.
Very good. That's a lot, isn't it? Let's go down to the bottom. So many questions. Oh, this is a great question. This is coming in from a pupil called Eve. What are the yellow tags on their ears for?
Okay. The yellow tags on their ears, and they're no longer yellow tags at this stage because you didn't get to see it, but the calves that were born this year now have a white tag in one ear and a yellow tag in the other ear. But the yellow tags are for their identification. Every animal must have their own ID, and that ID is registered with the Department of Agriculture so that they can come down and know exactly what animal is. And if I have to give that animal an antibiotic or the vet has to treat her, that number, her specific number, is registered as having been treated and all the rest of it. There were both yellow tags up to this year, but there's now a white tag on one of the ears, and this is what they call an electronic tag. So instead of having to actually read the number, you can just scan the tag and you know exactly what the number is.
Yeah, it's like a barcode. So
yes.
you're ever in the shops with your parents and they go to scan, if they go to buy something at the till, usually there's a little machine that will scan a barcode. So it's very similar to that. And then all the details will pop up on the screen. It's very handy and makes things a lot quicker.
Every farmer has their own code on that. So I have a code that would be on the top of my tag and then the numbers on underneath.
Super. So we have time for just 2 more questions. So let me have a little look here. So many brilliant questions. I'm very impressed, everyone. Has all of the equipment that you use on the farm gone up in price?
Most of it has nearly doubled in price at this stage. And getting worse every day.
Yeah, it's becoming very, very expensive for everybody, but for farmers as well. So this is why it's important to really appreciate the farmer who's doing all that hard work to make all of the food that we eat every single day. Now we'll finish on a nice one, a nice easy one. Let's have a look. What breed are your 2 dogs on your farm, and do they help you with work?
No, they're not work dogs. They're 2 gun dogs. One of them's a German pointer and the other one's an English pointer.
Okay, 2 pointers, very good.
Fionn and Bud.
Fionn and Bud, they're lovely names. I'm sure the boys and girls, especially the dog lovers, will all remember that. Now, everybody. Oh, actually, this is an important question because I'm not sure we mentioned this. So Aidan in Bunclody would like to know, what breed are your cattle?
They're mixed breeds, but mostly Limousin and Aberdeen Angus.
Very good. Okay, on that note, we might leave it there, and we're going to say thanks a million to James for giving us his time. And your teachers will be informed when the next webinar is going to happen. So we'll do a winter session, and as James said in the video, in winter you'll get to see animals indoors, and we might have some calves to have a look at inside. So thanks a million, James, and we'll see you next time. And to all of you in your classrooms, enjoy the rest of your day. So bye, everybody.
Bye.